and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, 'cause they play football the Celtic way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Wednesday night four-leaf Clover podcast. Where do we even begin? Well, last night the board took another £40 million Champions League gamble with our money, and yet again it didn't pay off. Not since Lee Cassiaro slotted in the winner for Lincoln Red Imps over here in Gibraltar have we had such an embarrassing result. I think the thing that hurts the most is we couldn't put this side away over two legs. We've no wingers. We haven't replaced our main striker that we sold in January. We're bidding for every man and his dog this week to bring in reinforcements, but it's all too little too late. We've fucked it. And the Europa League football it is. Thursday night football. Sunday league games it is. We're going to cover it all tonight, and I'm sure it's going to be explosive. Who did the panel hold accountable for all of this mess? And also, who the reviewers? We're going to get right in about it all tonight. It's a fucking sham, Celtic. You've gambled with our money for years now. We've been screaming out for you to kick on since Seville and blow the sad bear 69ers out the water forever. You'd think we would have learned our lesson by now. 12 failures now in 19 years in do-or-die qualifiers. We're constantly ill-prepared for these fixtures year after year. 5 straight attempts now to qualify for the biggest league in club football. And 5 failures. We constantly fucking gamble. We can laugh at the circus across the city all we want, but if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be hearing that Champions League music at Celtic Park the past 3 seasons. They've been the ones keeping the coefficiency points up in Scotland and not us. Brendan signed 9 players in his first season and only 2 remain, which is Yang and Bernardo. Fast forward to 2024, and of the 8 new faces he brought in, only Kasper Schmeichel started the game last night. We were screaming out for a goal last night, and we had 3 strikers on the bench who could have got us that goal. But Brendan didn't trust any single one of them to come on and get that goal. All Brendan signings, by the way, Yamada, Kenny and Osmond. Ridiculous. Last season we were competing with Bayern Munich, and now we can't even get past Kazakhstan minnows in FC Kairat. You say that we're a world-class club, then why act like amateurs? It stinks to the high heavens. And tonight, we're going to be bringing you to task, Celtic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Let's go around the table first before we get in about it. Jerry, how is the new Wi-Fi getting on, sir?
Wish it was maybe no on to maybe the day or tomorrow. Then I went to watch that game last night, Scott. So, fucking, I mean, it came at the wrong time, didn't it? But aye, mate, I've just got to go on with it now. So we've got a good talk about it tonight, mate. But, you know, as you say, you woke up this morning, brushed your teeth, and you think to yourself, fucking hell, you're the first thing you thought again. I need to go and face these guys. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, my 2 neighbours are Rangers supporters, so let's just run them into the ground today, you know what I mean, mate? So they never even opened their mouth, to be fair. They knew I wasn't in the mood for even fucking listening to it. So, aye, we'll talk about it tonight, mate. We'll go through it.
Aye, we certainly will. And Patrick, these Europa League fixtures, as we know, sir, they affect you really badly. You're going to be doing the old Thursday nights and the Sundays coming over from the Emerald Isle, sir. I mean, it's a difficult question to ask everybody on the panel today, but how are you feeling, sir?
Just like everybody else, Scott. Just real kick in the guts last night. Totally deflated, but you know, I was speaking to my eldest son later on last night, and you know, I even said to him, you know, if you weren't surprised, you know, but you know, it wasn't a great surprise, Scott. Really and truly, you know, it's you know, my feeling when the final whistle blew last night again was, you know, we've seen this, like it's like a movie you've seen over and over again. You know, so it's not really any great shock, or certainly shouldn't be any great surprise to any of us, because this is just what we do. we're never prepared. We're way behind the times. As you said earlier, they're running about trying to make it appear that they're trying to sign players all over Europe now to try and, but they're closing the stable door after the horse has bolted. Although, in saying that, we will get into it. I have my thoughts on Brendan as well. It's I don't think the board, you can lay the blame entirely at the feet of the board for what happened over the 2 legs, but just like everybody else, just very, very deflated. And for ourselves, not that we ever expect or asked any special treatment. We're not doing anything to everybody else. We're traveling to the games, but I told you guys last week the way it affects us, it just mucks up this will just muck up the entire first half of our season. We will now have 6 Europa League group games before the end of December. We'll have another 2 early in January, which is 8 fixtures altogether. So there's 8 games that are going to be played on a Thursday night. That's 8 weekend fixtures that will not be played on a Saturday now. So that's 8 fixtures that we're going to have to travel on a Sunday and be home late on a Sunday night. And you're looking at bad weather, maybe boats delayed and stuff like that. So it just completely messes up the Irish fans' travel plans for basically half of the season. But listen, it is what it is. Everybody will get their opportunity tonight to give their view, but I'm just very, very disappointed, Scott.
Yeah, for sure, sir. Like the rest of us, and Kaiser, again, it's a difficult question to ask everybody, but would they like to go around the table first, sir? How are you feeling today?
Living my best life as usual, legend. I do feel gutted that the team that I'm so passionate about, that I love so much, have let us down yet again. Fueled for several sources, of course. I'm sure we're going to get into and talk all about. Thanks everybody in the chat for being here at the event as well. We did stick a link in chat if anybody wants to join in and come on. You're more than free to do so. My nana used to say to me, mate, when you're handed a shit sandwich, it's best not to nibble on the edges. Take big wet bites and get it done. Get into it and get it done. And that's what we're going to do tonight, I take it. We're going to take big wet bites of this shit sandwich that we've been shared. She also used to say to me, hold out 2 hands, shite in one, and put your hope and dreams in the other and see what one falls up first. So it was a dose of reality as a young man that she told me what life had in store for me, never to get too wrapped up in dreams and ambitions. But that's exactly what our board, our current squad, and our current manager is lacking. Dreams and ambitions. They don't dream the same dreams that I do. They don't dream of European glory and fantastic nights in paradise. They dream of budget cutting and big bank balances and looking good in a good shape out. And it's all going to come out tonight, mate. I'm fuming. I was at the back garden last night throwing digs at the full moon. I was raging, but we'll get into it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we certainly will. And Andy, Kaiser touched on it there, mate. You came up with a good idea earlier in the chat. You're going to invite people on tonight if they want to come and sit in the green room, mate. And we'll get them on because I think a lot of us have got a lot to say. I've had my wee rant there at the start with my wee introduction, but I'm sure you guys are going to take the floor. But you want to get some of the viewers on as well, mate, tonight, is that right? And let them have a wee rant as well, because it's not just us that's pissed off, it's 99.9% of the fans, mate, as well.
Aye, absolutely. I think it's important. Obviously, people are coming in and putting their messages in the chat, but it's different when you don't quite get it across what you want to say. So I thought it'd be a good idea to just bring the viewers in and let them have their say, kind of super scoreboard style. If you don't want your face in camera, just don't put your camera on, but come on and let your voice be heard. That's what we're here for. That's all we do, is come on and give your opinion. So it'll be really interesting to see who wants to come on and actually have their say, because let's be honest, last night, and not just last night, but the tie overall, the 2 games, it's up there with the most embarrassing result that Celtic's ever had in their European history. Let's be honest. You know, you can look at Lincoln Red Imps, but we pulled that out. You know, we sorted that out of the two games. This is a 2-legged tie. We offered absolutely nothing in both games, and the couple of chances we did have, absolutely fluffed them. And this team is ranked in the same level as St Johnstone in our league. That's who who we've lost out to. That's who's going into this team that put us out last night will not take any points against any team that they play. I'm telling you, because no team's going to be as bad as us that's in the Champions League going to play them. They will finish bottom the whole thing, and it's going to look even worse on us. That our two games, we couldn't see even when it went to penalties. I'm thinking we can't even score against them with a penalty. Fucking chance have you got? So we're going to pick the bones out tonight. They're getting it. They're all getting it.
Aye, bang on, mate. And I seen it on the comments here. People saying, "Why should we comment?" You know, they're getting up very quickly and coming down very quickly. It's impossible for me to keep in tap of all these comments, folks. There's 200 people watching live. So if you do have something to say, then come on live. As Andy said, the link's here at the start. Jump on and have your say. This is your opportunity. And if you're any decent, then we might get you back on at some point as well. So we'll see how that goes. So let's just get straight into it then, Jerry. The starting lineup last night, pal. Oh, I mean, what were you thinking when you seen that, Jerry?
I'm not surprised, basically. You know what he's going to do. There's no surprises for Brendan. It's the same. He's not going to go to a 4-4-2. He's not going to change it. I'll talk about that later. So I've got that stuff for Brendan later. But the team doesn't surprise you there, Scott. Does it? Doesn't surprise you at all, the team. Me Yang, just telling you, you're going to start talking about the full game now, mate. You want me to...
Go for it, mate. Aye, just say your spiel, mate. Go for it.
You like me says, you get that much in your head tonight with Brendan, when we're talking about Brendan, the board, everybody's accountable for it. For the board, to the team, to Brendan. It's just as that Paddy says, we've seen this movie over the years, we just know. It's just one of the games you just know. There's not even one game, it's two games. Celtic were rotten last night. They were talking about they're going to show the real Celtic. It was worse. I didn't even know where to start. I mean, there's just no composure. First touch, terrible. Second touch was a tackle. I mean, the ball was just getting bounced about. Nobody wanted the ball. I know we're bad at corners, but we were even bad at shies last night. Nobody. We're hiding for shies. Not one person showed courage to say, we're all looking about each other's players and saying, you do something, instead of you saying, no, you know what? I'm going to fucking do something. I mean, that was just a start here. To me, it was just Yang. I mean, so we talk about Ida, right? We know Ida gets it hard, and rightly so. But let's be honest, lads, I don't even know if any striker can do well for Celtic, because the service is terrible. The wingers cut inside all the time. For me, for the striker to get service and stuff, it's not right. I mean, the corners and all, we do nothing at corners, shies. I don't know where the fuck to go here with this, man. Honest to God, lads, I've got a rope down there. I'm honest, there's just no desire. Do you feel as if after these two games, any Celtic player come off that park absolutely shattered? Any player absolutely shattered and gave their all for this club? They know what it means to the fans. Paddy's right with the Sundays. They know what it means to the fans to, like, a Wednesday night going to Champions League nights. It means everything to the fans. The nights are special. Thursday nights are never the same. And I mean, it's down lower against lower teams. Going to Celtic, I know some of the games are hard, the top teams, but going on Wednesday night to Champions League football is brilliant for the season. You never get sick of them. And I just don't know if the players really fucking wanted that the same as the fans last night. So I know we can talk about the board. We're going later about the board. So I started for them. But I just feel like out of the two games, did the players actually look themselves in the mirror this morning and say, do you know what? I done all right out of the two. No, you never. Not one player did that. So they never scored. They lacked everything last night, creativity, everything, passion for the team. The ball bobbling about. I know the grass parts weren't that great, but it's up to you. It's the same for both teams. It's up to you to... I mean, we're talking about professional football players last night. Oh, fucking professional football players. I mean, couldn't get to the byline, couldn't then we can slag the board, and then we pick a couple of substitutes to take penalties, and a substitute who maybe was injured, I wasn't fully fit, and his confidence is so low, it's unbelievable. And who picked him to take the first penalty? Fucking, that's not the board. It does that.
Yep.
So as I say, there's that much to go, and we'll start with just that wee game last night, but we'll get to the players, the board, Brendan. Last night was just, you just seen it. You just feel as after 20 minutes, it's just one of the games. You're just never going to get a goal. We've not got that striker, one chance goal. Mida works his ass off. The guy's good, but he's not a one chance guy. Bit of composure. Draw the keeper out, chip him, take it on the side. There's nothing. He just fails to do it. So yeah, it's just there's that much, mate. We could be on for the pod till about 12 o'clock tonight. I'll give the boys a chance. I know, I think, Kira.
We may well be, Jerry. We may well be, Andy.
We've got somebody in the wings. We've got Sean CFC. You want to bring him in, or what?
Well, I will wait. If you just sit in the green room and now, Sean, mate, we'll just
Sean,
go
if you
in
can hear us, aye, you should be able to hear us. We'll bring you in once we all have a wee natter, okay?
And then else, let's just get around the panel first. Paddy, Lorna's hit the nail on the head here for me. We look like a team who never played together before last night. She's absolutely bang on there. And when I seen that team, Jerry's bang on as well. There's no heart, there's no desire in that team at all anymore.
We just, as Lorna said, Scott, just like you thought that some of them were playing their first game, hadn't ever played with some of these guys before. But for me, the lack of leadership, and just somebody to as Jerry says, to take the game by the scruff of the neck and say, right, we're Celtic here. This is a team ranked, below Linfield in the UEFA rankings, below St Johnstone in the UEFA rankings. It shouldn't have taken that much, but it's just frightening the lack of leadership that we have. We pinpointed the pass back from Callum McGregor that almost cost Schmeichel. Again, just completely careless. Just pass the buck to somebody else. Nobody taking responsibility for that ball, giving the goalkeeper an absolutely horrible pass back there in that situation. That just summed us up. Like Brendan was right about the pitch. There's no question about the pitch. The pitch was a disgrace, but there was nothing wrong with the pitch at Celtic Park in the first game. You know what I mean? The pitch was in immaculate condition. So, it's starting to wear a bit thin. These excuses from him. You know what? You can say what you like, Scott, but the board absolutely deserve all the criticism that's coming their way, and it will come their way, and it will probably just get worse. We should have had players in, but when you look through that Celtic squad, and I'm talking about the players on the bench as well, we had more than enough there to take care of that Kazakhstan team over the two legs. Absolutely, we said it here after the game finished last night. 1-0 at Celtic Park would have been enough to get us through. You saw that last night. Those guys were never going to score. They were only ever going to score if we made a mistake. That was evident from the first 10 or 15 minutes what their tactics were. They were trying to just play for the long game, play for penalty kicks, and they were quite prepared to sit in there and hit us on the break. But the board really do need to take a look at themselves. I did a bit of digging today just to see. Kyogo left Celtic on the 27th of January. Nicholas Kuhn left on the 11th of July. Kyogo scored 85 goals for Celtic. Nicholas Kuhn scored 15. That's 100 goals. How many other goals did Kyogo and Nicholas Kuhn, how many other goals were they involved in setting up for other people? That's a massive, massive amount of goals that you're taking out of the team without being replaced. And then if you factor in Jota has scored 33 goals for Celtic. Jota got injured on the 26th of April against Dundee United at Tannadice. There's another goal scorer, another goal provider. There's 100. If you add those together, there's 133 goals. That's just goals that these guys score. That's not goals that they set up for other people.
Yeah.
So listen, you don't have to be the brain of Britain to work it out. If you take that amount of talent and that amount of quality and that amount of finishing out of the team, it's not going to function as is. The guy, we used the analogy before about the cake. If you keep cutting away at the cake and taking from the cake without putting something back, you're going to end up with nothing. And that's exactly what's happened. My point about the not needing the players it still stands. But it would have been beneficial for Brendan to have a few more bodies in there. We also lost Alistair Johnson in the first game, so those are four massive players that have been a big part of what we've been trying to do. Kyogo, Nicholas Kuhn, Alistair Johnson, and Jota. Four players. If we had those four guys last night, I hazard a guess if we had those four guys at Celtic Park in the first game, we would have probably gone out there with a 3 or 4 goal lead. You know what I mean? So the board will absolutely have to share their responsibility. But, then to get on to Brendan, again, when you look at it, and everybody in this panel will know that I've been a defender of Arne Engels. But, even that, like, I'm starting to get to the stage now. How can you defend Arne Engels any longer? I thought he played rightly when he came on in terms of the way he played, but his delivery from set pieces was absolutely woeful. And they kept letting him take corner after corner after corner. As Jerry said, who's on the touchline there that's not seeing that everybody else can see? Again, they will criticise the board and the right to be criticised, but they gave him 6 million for Austin Trusty, they gave him 11 million for Arne Engels, they gave him 9 million for Adam Ida. For a club like Celtic, that's 26 million. That is a massive financial investment in the team for a club like Celtic. And that most important game for us last night, Trusty didn't even travel. Even if he had a travel, he probably wouldn't have started. He hasn't started him so far. Engels was a sub, Anita was a sub. So that's when you need to switch it around and you see it from the board. Is there an argument there that the board are maybe saying to him, listen, there's what you done with 26 million last year. Why should we give you another 20 million? As Jerry says, if you go back to his first time in charge, the list of players that we signed, Timothy Weah, Oliver Burke, these guys are just Jeremy Tolian. These guys are just names that are coming to me off the top of my head. Brendan doesn't have the best record when it comes to recruiting and signing players. So maybe there is an argument there. I don't know. I just don't know, Scott. I don't know how best to look at it, but I do feel Brendan has been insulated somewhat in terms of the criticism. But for Brendan to not have the ability as a coach to get a tune out of these guys over 2 legs, as I say, against a team who are ranked lower than the likes of Linfield, I think that speaks volumes for it. Again, this is what we talked about. If you go back to the summertime, I actually raised this very, very point during the summer to say that I think the whole situation with Brendan and his contract has the potential to develop into an absolute sideshow that could derail our season very, very easily. And I think you're seeing signs of that. Somebody mentioned to me today, are the players aware that he's maybe going at the end of the season, and maybe they're thinking, do you know what? Why should we bust the gut? He's going anyway. Do you know what I mean? So there's just so much floating around, Scott. But I'm just massively disappointed. Once again, we've had good teams, we've had middle of the road teams, but we always seem to get to this stage every summer when there's a qualifier comes around. We are never prepared in terms of the squad. Brendan never gets the players in that he likes. You could say the same. Ange Postecoglou maybe was the same. Ronnie Dyla was the same. Neil Lennon certainly was the same. It just seems to be an inherent failure from us every year, and that's where you have to think there's something not right in how we're going about our business. Again, I've seen we're linked with yet another winger this evening, from a winger from Sweden. And again, the team have told Celtic that they want about €5 million, and Celtic have bid 2.6 million. So it's just there's something not right in the system there, and that for me is just that's just in a nutshell. I'm absolutely got it for myself and for the rest of the Irish fans because of the difference it will make to our season, as I've already outlined. But we can't be selfish about the whole thing. But as Jerry said, it's not even about that. I wouldn't care if the Champions League games were on a Thursday night. It's the Champions League games you want to be going to. That my opinion of it is, if you're not in the Champions League, the Europa League is a very poor substitute for the Champions League. It really is. But it is what it is. It's just been a collective failure by the board, by Brendan as a coach and the manager, and by the players themselves. Irrespective of what went on previously there, I'm just so disappointed that over the course of 2 legs, and somebody said it was over 200 minutes when you count the extra time, that we couldn't manage to even score a goal at Celtic Park against these guys. And then, as Jerry said, when you look at the decision making again, you have Adam Ida, probably the guy in the squad who is lowest on confidence more than anybody at all, couldn't hit a barn door at the minute for the club in any game, whether he's a sub, whether he's a starter, and they send him up to take the first penalty. You know, that's anybody with half a brain knows that if you're taking first on the penalty kick, and we won the toss, so Callum elected to take first. And that's what you do. You go up, you stick the first one away. And by doing that, then you ensure that they're coming up every single time. Every one of their players is coming up under major pressure. But to send up Adam Ida, given the fact that he hasn't played, he hadn't trained, it's just laughable. And as I say, for me, the one that's the most of all, Dyson Midas penalty just summed everything up. Just as if he walked up there, as if he didn't care. He just walloped the ball. You know, he didn't seem to put any great thought into it, one thing or another, and you just knew by his body language that he was going to miss even before he came up. So just massively disappointed, Scott. We've missed a major opportunity here. You know, they talk about 40 million. It's probably somewhere between 40 and 60 million, you know, has disappeared now. And my fear now is that with this board, anything's possible. I would say now there's a very distinct possibility we could see the likes of Maida or even Hatate maybe being sold now to make up the shortfall because they've done it before. So it's not good, Scott.
Yeah, it's not, mate. And Kaiser, Jerry and Paddy have made fantastic points here. I think the one that sticks out for me is Paddy talking about the goals that we've lost. Now, if you look at the starting lineup last night, would we have ever said that our starting lineup in a playoff in a Champions League game would contain Yang and Forrest on our wings? And that's no disrespect to the two guys, by the way. Forrest has been a great servant and Yang's certainly coming on to some sort of game, but we need better than that. We need an actual striker who would have put that chance at Maida missed away. You know, an actual out-and-out striker would have scored that, no bother. How he took on his left foot as well is beyond me. He was clean through and goal. All he had today was to dink it over the keeper with his right foot. Nobody's going to catch him. It stinks, mate. It stinks that this is what we've been left with for a Champions League playoff. And it's not acceptable.
Yeah, exactly, mate. It stinks to high heavens. The keeper was already diving before Maeda struck the ball. He was halfway down. He was fucking limboing. Pardon my French. But for me, look, scathing, the board is full of geriatric dinosaurs trapped in the 1980s. They refuse advancement. They refuse to modernise the club. They refuse to invest, get into these qualifiers. Brendan is tactically inept. We've seen it for the Glasgow derbies last year. He get pulled apart and refused to change it. Yang is not the answer unless who is fucking Victor Cronkite, who is shite. That is when Yang is the only answer. Callum McGregor dropping deep to receive a 6-yard pass for Liam Scales, to be pressured by a man and pass it back to Liam Scales, slows down the play. Captain Ned Flanders has just not been good enough. He never turns a man. He never breaks into space. He's not lifting the team. I mean, it's indicative of the pass back that he made to Schmeichel and the pressure he put us under there. There was like 20 odd yards of space behind him, but he never looks to turn. He's over cautious. Yang was absolutely horrendous. It was at the stages I thought I was watching African Cup of Nations games, and the guy was falling over the ball, and it was utterly abysmal. Engels' delivery was tripe. Negrin was an empty shot, despite performing against Livingston. He was a complete empty shot. Heading the ball straight up in the air. I'm like, get the ball down and play football, Celtic. That's your strength, play football. Adam Ida, as a striker, asked to drop deep, receive the ball. The guy couldn't trap a bag of cement in a phone box. It's not his game to receive the ball and pump it wide to the winger and then turn and make a run. James Forrest can't keep going to the same well and relying on that boy. 32 years old now, gives his all for Celtic, understandably, but it just wasn't there for him. Congratulations to Kairat, by the way. Let me just say that here. They had a game plan. They played the low block. They were ultra defensive. They offered absolutely nothing going forward, absolutely nothing. And yet every time they went forward, they looked more dangerous than us. Their fans were excited when they were 40-odd yards outside the box. And I was thinking somebody must have a monstrous strike or something here. There's something that they're getting excited about. They were just keen to be there. You know, James Forrest is 34. Very sorry. Cheers for the correction, legend. 32. I'm giving him more credit than he's worth. He rolled the years back a couple of years, boys. But, look, for me, it's indicative. The board being geriatric dinosaurs, refusing to invest. Brendan Rodgers and his coaching staff, stale, tactically inept, young Strachan, Oiream, they should all be on their way out the door today. Brendan Rodgers should be packing a bag. If he really wants what's good for Celtic and what's best for Celtic, he should be packing his bag and saying, look, I'm walking. Put his 2 hands up and go. Fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. The board failed to back me. They failed to bring in players for me. The board have failed me as a manager, and that's allowed me to fail you as fans, backed by this team who were not good enough. People keep going on, not replace Kyogo. I don't even think Kyogo was getting passes in this side the way Brendan Rodgers plays. He was also being asked to drop deep. And sure, there was a few months before Kyogo left. He done absolutely nothing. He not scored, done nothing. So I thought that was like a good business move when Kyogo went out the door. I thought, but we're going to get somebody else in here. The board are not going to sit in their hands. They're not going to rest on their laurels. And I would be like, it's indicative of we're billionaire owner or majority shareholder Dermot Desmond getting the manager that he wants. The manager's personal relationship with Peter Lawwell crippling and damaging the club and damaging the squad. The board being geriatric dinosaurs. The current squad that we have right now is the carcass of an Ange Postecoglou squad. And the vultures are circling, backed by this board. They're like the vultures for the Jungle Book movie. They're sitting on the tree and they're looking at Daisen Maeda, Rio Hitati, the one few players that we have got in the squad of quality, and they're looking to get rid of them. They're looking to fulfill this shortfall that we've made by the board gambling and the gamble not coming off. Some say engineered decline. That's exactly what it feels like to me. The board have engineered this situation. They've engineered the decline that we're seeing right now in the squad. They sold our best players and not replaced them. They've gave the manager zero backing. But for me, £3 million a year, Brendan Rodgers gets paid in wages, and he's not tactically astute enough to make alterations to beat Kazakhstan minnows. Right? It's about time we take the elite manager title and just put it in the bin, because Brendan, you no longer deserve it. You no longer deserve it. You've shammed us. You have performed, and our team has performed on the pitch the exact same as the board has performed in the transfer market. No wonder people are sending us messages. The go-ahead Eagles chairman ending the message like Nelson for the Simpsons. Ha ha, making funny of lowballing Michael Nicol and Diamondson. Peter Lowball Manjaro Lawwell, right? Stop spending your money on Manjaro and see if you had an iota of passion for the club, an iota of the passion that I have for Glasgow Celtic. We would be excelling right now. We would be in the Champions League. We would have a tram system running for the city centre, the Paradise. We would be improving the stadium. We'd be improving the footprint. But you completely lack vision. You lack ambition. And you go to bed every night, drink a wee brandy or something and tell yourself you're the fucking dog's bollocks. You are not the dog's bollocks, my man. You're utterly inept, decrepit, geriatric dinosaurs on that board. Brendan Rodgers, tactically inept, utterly tactically inept. Take your Gucci belt, your elite manager title, put both of them in the bin, bro. Put your Tom Fords on, tie them tight, and pack a bag, in my opinion. Sling your hook. I want a manager in with passion and drive and vision. A manager who can take that squad and get the best out of it. A manager who would have come in there and went, right, you know what, I'm going to tactically change here. This mob on the attacking is offering nothing going forward. I'm playing a 3-4-3. I'm crowding the midfield with the quality players we do have, and I'm going to overrun this mob. I'm going to score within the first 5-10 minutes and just take them to the cleaners. But no, Brendan sticks to his egomaniac, egocentric, I know fucking best, when you don't know best, bro. You don't know best. And I've got no doubt he's probably forgot more about football than I actually know, being a high-level manager, right? But elite manager, he is not. Jose Mourinho, he is not. Sir Alex Ferguson, managers of that ilk, he is not. He is nothing along that lines. There's no change in the game. There is no tactical switch up, no tactical change. Players let us down as well. Yang is utterly woeful. And I'm just ranting on and on and on, mate. I could go on all night. As I says, last night I was in my back garden here in Ibrox throwing digs at the moon because I live here. I live in Mordor in the shadow of Snake Mountain. I need to walk about here with pride, and I've always been beaming with pride for my club, for how we play and how we perform. Now, there's nothing wrong with losing a game, legends, right? It happens. It happens. Disasters happen. It's the style in which you lose the game. You give your all. You give it absolutely everything you've got. Paddy hit the nail in the head. I didn't see one player who looked like he gave it his absolute all. When it came to penalties, Adam Ida, as said, couldn't hit a barn. Couldn't hit a barn with a jumbo jet right now. And he steps up to take the first penalty. Luke McCowan chocolate bar. Well, that chocolate melted, my man. I seen what it meant to Luke McCowan on his face, but when he was standing in the line-up with the players, I seen what it meant when he went back after hitting that spot kick. I seen the pain in his face. As I said, Callum McGregor dropping deep and receiving a 6-yard pass from a defender and then passing it back. Not exactly peel low, is it? So I could do that. I could do that right here, right now, at 43 years old. I could do that. Drop back in midfield. Wait until the guy receive the ball for the defender. Wait until the guy comes to shut me down. No attempt to turn them, pass or go anywhere. Just pass the ball straight back to the defender. And then the guy who's pressured me is only get 6 yards to close down a guy with less passing talent than our best midfielder. For me, it's indicative all over the squad. It's indicative of Brendan's football. The squad behaviour, squad mentality, the full thing needs ripped up, routed, put in the bin, dare I say, rebuild. Scrap the lot yet, refresh it, do whatever you got to do, run a sieve over that entire team. Why we're rejecting bids for Yang, I do not know. I'd have sent them out the door anyway. I'd have get rid of every last one of them that I could. See, if a bid comes in tomorrow, a £3 million for Adam Ida, I would bite somebody's hand off for it. Get rid of them all. They're doing nothing but holding us back and weighing us down. They're just not good enough. And as a great man once said, these shirts don't shrink to fit lesser players. So never think that our fans as a fan group are going to look on you any less than we look on you right now. Some people like to say entitled fan group. He's entitled, he's used to winning. No, me, I grew up in the 80s. I just know what it is to be a Celtic, to be a Celt, to demand quality, to demand ambition. I know exactly what that is. And some people out there, happy clappers for the board and stuff like that, wanting to blow smoke up Peter Lawwell's arse. On yous go. Absolute nuggets. Yous are indicative of why we're here as well. Credit where credit's due to the board for their business dealing and having money in the bank. But see if they're going to come out and start preaching austerity and we need to tighten our belts and, well, you should have spent some of the money that's in there already. They're selling our best players and not replacing them. Utterly inept. Sorry, ran over.
No, it's fine, mate. We want to get it all out tonight. That's
well said, mate. Well said.
Well said, everybody. And we'll save the best to last, I think, because I know our Andy's got plenty to say as well. Andy, elite manager. We had a chat in the green room before everybody came in, and elite manager, he certainly isn't. You know, his record in Scotland is fantastic, but his record in Europe is absolutely abysmal. And this team that he put out last night was the best that he could put out for a Champions League playoff game. Absolutely ridiculous.
I know, mate. Sean, we'll get to you in about 5 minutes, mate. Okay, I know you're still sitting in the wings there.
Stick with it, Sean. Stick with it, boy.
Aye, exactly, mate. I brought this up maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I said it's probably not a bad thing that Brendan leaves at the end of the season because the football is fucking shite, mate. Like, really bad. Now, we can't come on here and say, oh, he's not getting the batting and it's not his fault. No, how many times have we, and we've seen it in the comments, or this horseshoe pedestrian push at the back? We're going out there having to win a game, right? Now, there's so many things coming into my head here, right? That he brought up Inamura, right? That he wasn't convinced that he was good enough to defend against kind of better opposition. Why is he not on that team? Why does he get Scales at left back when Tierney comes off? Why is Inamura not out there? Because he's good at attacking, and that's what we've got to fucking do. Is score a fucking goal. And he's got a defender at fucking left back. Now, there's no way this guy's an elite manager. I want somebody to show me the fucking proof that this man is an elite manager because there's no fucking proof. Ange won a treble in Scotland. Is he considered an elite manager? He's won a fucking European trophy. Rodgers can hardly win a game in Europe. Look at his record. It's fucking shocking. Absolutely shocking. And he stoats about with a fucking attitude that he knows the fucking game inside out. He's got fans who only football coaches, us, just fucking fans sitting fucking gleaming what needs done. Change it up a bit, change formation. Try and get a wee bit of impetus into the team. Fucking nothing. This is a major embarrassment. And this isn't just last night. By the way, we had another game against them last week in front of 60,000 people in your own fucking stadium. Perfect pitch to play on. Fucking absolute turgid pish. We created nothing. Now, let me just bring something up here, right? I know you had the team up last night, but let me bring this up. There's a team that played last night, right? Schmeichel, Ralston, Carter Vickers, Scales, Tierney, Nygren, McGregor, Hatate, Forrest, Maeda, and Yang. Here is a lineup that faced Bayern Munich, right? And came so close to putting Bayern Munich out. Schmeichel, fucking Schlupp. We've got a better player at left back than Tierney. Schlupp played that night. Trusty, right, who's injured. Carter Vickers played as well. You've got Johnson, who played in the first game, by the way, but got injured. Okay, so fair dues with that. You've got Engels, who came on as a sub, but did appear last night. Engels, McGregor, Hatate. Jota's out injured. Fair play with that. Maeda up front. And obviously Kuhn's away. But let's be honest, after that game, Kuhn just never turned up for Celtic. Right, yeah. But he did have a half-decent Champions League campaign. So let's be fair to him there. Now, are you trying to tell me that side that played last night was really good enough to beat that fucking mob? An absolute disgrace. I don't even want to go into the board now because I'll leave that for later on. But just touching on this and just, I just want to get into this first penalty as well. I think Paddy brought it up as well. You have to either take the first penalty. Who's the penalty taker at Celtic? It's Engels.
Engels.
Right? We've failed to score against this team in 2 games. The first penalty should have been taken by the fucking penalty taker. The last thing you want is probably the worst guy in the pitch to take a penalty and the heat's go down fucking right away and the fucking pressure zone. After that, Engels should have took the first penalty. Ida should have been fucking nowhere near the fucking ball. The guy's come off an injury. He's come into that team, done 45 minutes and done absolutely hee-haw. It's just, I could be here all night going on and just touched on Desmond and all. The fact that man has so much influence over our club is a fucking disgrace. A man that he's not a majority shareholder. He's a majority single shareholder. He's not the owner. Why does he have so much say in what goes on at our fucking club? When's the last time we put money in? Is it fucking 2008 or something? We're self-sustainable. Do you know why? Because of the fucking fans. Bringing out fucking 15,000 fucking jerseys before the season starts. Season tickets. Fucking paying for friendlies. Fucking everything. An absolute shit show going on here. Right. I'll let Sean come in if you want to bring him in, mate. Apologies for that.
Well said, Andy.
Nice
pies up and all.
Okay,
Ladies
brilliant.
and gentlemen, we did put a link in at the start there, and if anybody wants to come on and try and match any of those 4 rants, Sean is brave enough to be that guy.
Can I go again now, Scott?
It's over to you, sir.
All right, Sean.
See me all right?
Yeah.
Aye.
All right, Sean.
Yeah.
On you go, mate.
Listen, I totally agree with everything everybody says. It's been absolutely atrocious. What kind of just gobsmacked, to be honest. It's like Andy was just saying there. I mean, hat off to you, mate. Same with everybody. It's why are we playing players that don't seem to be interested in football? They don't seem to be interested at all. It's one of the ones where you're just sitting, you're watching the game, and you're just like, well, I mean, like you said, Andy, about Ida with the first penalty. He's no penalty taker. He's not scored in any of the games.
Yeah.
You're just like, everybody was going on last season, he scored 20 goals, he scored this, he scored that, he won the cup for us and all that, he scored the games, just big fucking deal. Everybody does that. There's players that have been through the ranks that have done that. There's defenders that have scored against Rangers. big deal. The difference is, if you're paying £9 million and upwards, you're wanting a return on that. Now, like everybody said about the board, I just don't understand. If they've got so much money in the bank, why is there a stick up their arse and they want to spend it? It's as simple as that. Right? We've got players, I mean, like I think it was Paddy at the top and said earlier on about putting in, about the transfer window. We're paying, these clubs are selling players and we've got a target fee. Why are we getting in for half the money or less than half the money? Why are we not just paying the fucking money to get a decent calibre of player? It's as simple as that. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but obviously I've heard you tonight, but I'm a season ticket holder myself. And it's like Andy's just after saying the other noon. We're turning around and saying we're paying for home cup ticket scheme, we're paying for Champions League games or Europa games now. You're just like, we don't even get anything for that return apart from going and sitting in paradise, knowing that whether you've had that seat as a legacy or whether you're just a brand new season ticket holder, you're gone for that atmosphere. Neither wants to go to Europa League games. We want to go to Champions League games. That's where the money is. That's where the atmosphere is. It's as simple as that. You go to any other stadium, any other team, like Kairat Almaty. I mean, they were ranked 253rd in Europe. And we're what, 15th or something?
I think they're actually
Again, people probably correct me if
311.
I'm wrong on that one, but at the
Sean,
same time,
I think they're even.
how is us as a team is such a high standard, no white in the flare with them when we can go out and do it league in, league out, and other games. I don't know where everybody else stands, but me, it's clearly frustrating when you've got such good players that came through the doors and you let players go for what I think it was Kuhn, it was either 16 or 17.5 million pounds. We personally are not asking the board to spend any more money. We're just asking them to reinvest the money that they've got for the fucking players that have left.
Yep.
Mhm.
No,
don't get it at
bang
all.
on, Sean. You're bang on, mate. Andy's called it as well, by the way. You know, we are self-sustainable. You know, we haven't spent a penny in 5 years, basically, with the money we've been bringing in. And let's just have a look at the signings, Jerry. You know, that's disgusting, really, to be getting into a Champions League campaign. That's the sort of level of player that we're bringing in. You know, you can't wait until you've qualified and then go for your big boys. The money's there. It's your money. The board aren't spending it. What's your thoughts on the sort of signings, Jerry? Ridiculous.
That's the signings you're batting in the door and Tappy, experienced, quality, 26-year-old guys. Scott has been about. You don't mind these guys coming in. That's fine. But they've got to come in and after we bring in the quality players. These guys are all just guys that are going to try and hang themselves through the team. All right, Tierney, free, but the boy Negrin done well. But listen, Negrin never kicked a ball in 2 games either. Full team never. So, listen, we're all arguing. Listen, the board and all are telling us absolutely fucking nothing. We don't know why they're not spending the money. We know nothing. We're all just, you see it all every day, all the day on Twitter and all that other stuff. It's just everybody's just arguing with each other now because nobody knows nothing. Not one of them will come out with their balls and show. Tell us why. Why is the money sitting there? What for? What's the reason? I mean, that striker thing's been a fucking absolute shambles, man. The number 9's iconic at Celtic, and we can't go out and get somebody for us, for the fans, for the team. They can't go and get him. All these windies. January's a hard month to fucking sign somebody. Oh, wait till the end of the fucking last week in the summer because it might be easier. It's the same shite with fucking run. It's the same shite we're listening to for this board. So what's the reason why we keep the money for? What's the fucking reason? Tell us. Because fucking, I mean, Kyogo and Kuhn and nothing, no replace them. It's just fucking, I don't know, mate. See, the thing is Rodgers want to see a player, but don't you know if he's seen them or the scouting system seen them? Then they're watching them for 4 or 5 weeks, deciding will we get them. Then they're putting in a silly bid. Then when they put a silly bid in, if they get the guys and they want to put in a 7-8 million bid, these guys are not coming for 25 grand a week, Scott. These guys want 40 fucking grand, 50. There's the fucking, that stops it straight away. So why are we wasting weeks and weeks going for players that are not going to come for fucking the money? Talk to the players straight away and ask how much they're going to play for. Because then you can just stop fucking scouting them straight away. That should be the first question. Much are you going to take to come to Celtic Park? Because that ends a fucking conversation. Instead of spending weeks and weeks of fucking analysing, scouting system. Everybody's just a fucking running. It's running with the same stuff. We shouldn't be sitting here having this conversation tonight. We shouldn't be. We said about 6 months ago, the Bayern Munich game. Yes, I said it. We all said it. Things are going to go forward now. It was a feel-good factor. Then the fucking board go and rip it away from us again for no reason. And I thought I'd go all out last night in the fucking house myself going about fucking, but Andy's got me going again as well, and he's fucking right. It's just we're shouting and just no thinking now because it's just fucking, we're all just frustrated with why we, it seems we're the only club I think in Europe and we can't get a striker in. Because you just read it every day. Striker's gone there, striker's gone there.
Jerry, we don't seem to be able to get MD in. How come other clubs can do deals, no problem, but no us?
This is Andy, I'll say it right now, and I don't care what any of our supporters says about Europe, they'll not do it in the Champions League. We don't do it in the Champions League. We should have guys like Boyle, Martin Boyle coming off the bench for us, than Yang. Fucking that Murray can do better than either. Fucking these guys try harder than our players. I know they're no European, but our players are European quality. But we need to try and get guys that are fucking going to at least put effort in. That's the minimum.
Jerry, can I just say something, Jerry? See, we were talking about Yang. See if we haven't got a better option than Yang in our youth system, we are fucked, mate. We are fucked. And if you're a youth player at Celtic and guys like Yang are getting fucking game time at Celtic, and you're not even getting a sniff, then if I'm him, I'm looking to go elsewhere because it's a fucking disgrace.
Andy, mate, Celtic short for players. The way my ma used to take me to buy new trainers, I would go up to town and want a pair of Air Max with bubbles in them. My ma would go, there's a nice pair of 69.99 ones over there. She never even looked at the shoes, she just looked at the price. That's the way Celtic bid for players. They go in and they go, right, what's his maximum value that we're going to go to for him? And what's his minimum value? Bid the minimum. If anybody's head should roll, it's Michael Nicholson. He's the one we can hold accountable for. And we can make his head roll, I think, if we get together as a fan group. Vote with your feet.
Do you know what, Kaiser? This Celtic's whole signing strategy, is like big clubs who are serious about progressing in whatever competition they're in, whether it be they're in League or Europe. This is like a guy getting home to show his new bird after his ma, and she's a big, blonde, good-looking woman. And Celtic get him to their mall with it, and it's a fucking blow-up doll. Here's my new bird. That's what it's like to me. It's half-assed. It's amateurish. It's an embarrassment.
Punctured, and he goes, it's not as bad as that, man, because she goes down.
See, the thing is, Andy, I know there's Brendan, he's still playing Yang instead of going to a fucking 4-4-2 or a 3-5 fucking. He's still playing Yang instead of bringing our midfielder in. He gets the wingers he wants. He's still doing that, and he's never going to change it. Listen, I'm not with Slater either, but what we'll say to him is he's never once tried a 4-4-2 with Eder and Mida together, working closely, playing off each other. The wingers are away out there doing fucking no service to that striker. But he'll not change it to a 4-4-2, Rodgers.
Yeah.
And the only time he's ever done something at Celtic is on the park was when fucking the mad we thought he was mad when Big King got sent off Stanovic, Celtic. Yeah. He fucking put a striker on, he put Edward on instead of a midfielder or a defender, and we went and won the game. Remember? He done it on the park. That's the only time he's ever done something straight away for me. Change it. If it's not working, change it. Fucking change your tactics. A good plan is get a plan A, B, C, man.
Guys?
Can
I just say as well, guys? It's like
go for it,
you look at it like the first game there, right? And you put Yang on. Yang came on and he had, I don't know if he had rockets in his fucking boots or something, man. He done something that pure energised that team.
He's an impact player. He's an impact player.
Aye. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. But where was that last night? Where was that last night? Where was all that last night? And same with Maeda, 1-on-1.
You know, you can go back
1-on-1. How did you know finishing them?
You can go back to Haksabanovic was the same. Anytime he got his start, he didn't look like a footballer. But when he came on with 15 minutes to go, with the other team tiring, he seemed to have an impact. And I think Yang, and even dare I say Ida as well, Adam maybe coming on with 20 minutes to go. You know, those guys are impact players. Those guys are not starters for Celtic. They're absolutely not starters. I've talked to him blue in the face about this. And Jerry will back me up. You know, Frank McGarvey, Charlie Nicholas, George McCluskey, Henrik Larsson, Chris Sutton, Jesus Christ, John Hartson, the list goes on and on and on. We're used to having a number 9, a big goal scorer number 9. You cannot be a striker up front for Celtic and not score goals. It just doesn't work. It just does not work. And Adam Ida's not good enough to be a starter for Celtic. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And one of the things, Paddy, that really galled me last night was that Jerry just touched on it there. He did go to 3 at the back, but he never went for 2 up front. There was 3 strikers sitting on that bench, mate, that he signed. And he didn't trust any single one of them to come on and get us a goal.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying to you, Scott. You know, that's where you have to look at, you know, you have to sort of question, right, well, what's actually Brendan thinking there? You know what I mean? There's somebody's made a, you know, Jason there just said about Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy might be 38, but I can tell you right now, Jamie Vardy would be a far better option than Adam Ida at the minute. You know, I mean, Jamie Vardy would have. You may tell me that Jamie Vardy wouldn't have scored 1 goal over those 2 legs for Celtic in those 2 games. You know what I mean? And that's what we said when you saw the way they played and set up on their own ground. You know, they didn't look like a team. As a matter of fact, they looked even poorer last night than they did. They played rightly at Celtic Park, but 1 goal was all we needed. All we needed was 1 goal at Celtic Park. A 2-0 victory, and we would have cruised through there last night. You know what I mean? So, but you have to sort of think about it, Scott. At the end of the day, you know. I can see the way the modern game goes, but you know, even at going into the last 6-7 minutes of extra time, you know, we're sitting here going, you know what? Just put the ball in the box. Put the ball into the box and try and get something. We do not want this going to penalties because that will suit them down to the ground. This is going to drag us down to their level, and it will completely do away with the rankings as who's the better team, one thing or another. We were the team last night that definitely did not want that to go to penalties, and I just don't think Brendan did enough. You know, we should have been, you know, and that's when I think that Kairos were at their most. They looked as though they were dead on their feet in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Engels was getting into the box. Negrin was getting into the box. We were there or thereabouts, but we just couldn't get the breakthrough. But, you know, you've Osman sitting on the bench. You have Johnny Kenny sitting on the bench. You know what I mean? Throw some of those guys on and just put the ball in the box and see if we can get a goal here. You know what I mean? So I just don't know. I don't know, Jerry. I don't know what to make of it, Scott. I just, you know, I don't like questioning the manager because sometimes I think it can be a knee-jerk reaction. There can be a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but you know, you really do have to look at Brendan's record in Europe now. You've got to look at his record. His record in Europe is absolutely horrendous. You know, his record in Europe is horrendous. You know, I saw somebody last night on Twitter saying, you know, I never thought I would see Celtic losing 7 goals to PSG. I never thought I would see Celtic losing 7 goals to Barcelona, but I have done under Brendan Rodgers. You know, so I don't know. Questions have to be asked, guys. Seriously.
Yeah. Andy?
I was going to say something there. I've totally forgot what it was I was going to say. I started reading comments and it's put me off. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you.
Sean, just coming back to you, sir. Just let's have a quick look at these signings. You know, this is what we've went into a Champions League campaign with. He's pressed the gamble button. Kieran Tierney, fair dues, as everybody said. You know, he's still finding his feet, I would say. He has played okay in a couple of games, but you know, at 60 grand a week, they maybe need to start questioning him. Where was his leadership skills over these 2 games? Is it because he's Kieran Tierney? Can he be called out? 3 strikers on the bench. Doesn't he fling any of them on? All Brendan Rodgers signing, Sean. You know, this is just a rant podcast tonight, and you know, we've got no segments because we have to get in about them and call it out as it is.
Oh, aye, of course. No doubt about that, Scott. But the difference is you're looking at what you're saying. Look at the signings. Can you put them up again?
Yeah, certainly. So,
I mean, there you go. Shin Yamada, right, 1.5. Benjamin Negrin, 1.3. I mean, you're expecting... me personally, just I can only deal my own perspective here, but I'm expecting players to come to Celtic and maybe development fees and all that, fine, fair enough. Players need to learn, simple as that. But the difference is, if you're looking to go into a Champions League game or a Champions League run like we did last season, and you're expecting a team like Celtic to be there and turn around and say, well, do you know what? This might be the year, this might be the time that we're going to do it. We need to be signing players at a higher calibre and a lot more money than that. I've said at the start when I came on that it looks as if, it's like you said, now, Scott, it's like a gamble. It's like just went meeny, miny, mo. And to be honest with you, the transfer window's not been good enough. We're looking at Mikel Angebala coming in, and I don't know, maybe he will be, but we're talking about players who left. So there's Kuhn played in the right. We've not anybody to replace him. We'll get Forrest, who's maybe a wee bit past it now, still does no bad in games, but is maybe starting to get to the point where he's turning around and going, do you know what, I'm maybe getting a wee bit too old to be on a running now. I mean, I play amateur football myself, but the difference is, and I'm a heavy guy, but I could still try and put an effort in. You're looking at 2 of the wingers that are looking to come in, and primarily, both of them play on the left. If that's no subliminally telling somebody a story, then I don't know what is. I think somebody said it in the comments as well that Maida and Atati, I think they'll be off. I think they'll be off come January because it's not good enough. Celtic should be in the Champions League. I mean, you're looking at people that know turning around and saying, oh, and all the other fans, all the other Rangers fans and all that are all going to be loving this. They're all loving it. They're all laughing up our backs now and turning around and going, well, where were yous? And to be honest with you, we weren't good enough. We've not been. The simple fact is that we've not had the investment that the club should be putting in. We've not had that. You look at Kieran Tierney, like you were saying there, Scott, I think he should still be held to account. At the end of the day, he went out for Arsenal, get some game time in Arsenal. He's came back, but the difference is you could possibly make a tiny argument for him saying that he's still trying to find his feet. But at the end of the day, he's been a boyhood Celtic player. Come on to hell. Everybody knows Kieran Tierney. Everybody knows the fact that you need to put him on the pitch and you need to do something. I mean, putting Scales at left back, no bringing Iramura on, like everybody else was saying. There's Callum Osmond, a development fee. That wee guy's been scoring goals in the B team. Right, bring him on. Hopefully he might make an impact, he might know. There's Shin Yamada. We only seen him, once in pre-season and then once in the game the other day. And you're just like, why are we bringing these players in and why are we not playing them? What's the whole point in bringing them in then? They've been better going to other clubs when they're actual guaranteed football.
Aye, absolutely criminal, Kaiser. No bringing any of the 3 strikers on for me last night. I mean, what is your thoughts, mate? You know, let's talk about let's move it along a wee bit. Barring the signings, I want to get to you and Andy for this one. The silence from the board is absolutely deafening today. You know, maybe something should have been said today to try and appease the fans. We're going to back Brendan Rodgers for now to we're going to go and win the Europa League. Where's this battle cry for the board or for the manager today that we are going to get backed? We're going to try and do something to turn this season around. Because, at the end of August, for us as Celtic fans, it's finished. No Champions League.
Yeah. I do find it hilarious that Brendan Rodgers was saying in press conferences, if you're looking for a manager to maintain, I'm not your man. Well, you couldn't even maintain where we were last season. You've no managed to maintain, so you're definitely not the man. For me, Celtic board, during one of the hardest times in life, during a global pandemic, when we were all dubbed in the house, they went radio silent on us. And they never came back. They've never come out. They've never issued statements. And I understand, look, these are board-level businessmen and whatnot. These have not got personalities. They've got a personality, a sports sort or something that's been used as a handy rag, you know what I mean? You've got zero personality, but you need to come out and inform the fans. You need to have us informed of what's going on. We want a mission statement. We want clear targets of what you're looking to do, why you're holding this money, why it's there. But they won't. They treat us with utter contempt. We're nothing more than fans and numbers. That's all we are to them, pound signs and numbers. They utterly distaste for the board. I reflect exactly what they've gave towards us. Since they did go radio silent during the global pandemic, I've never forgiven the board for that. That was some of the most trying, hard times in my life, and the only thing I had, while being dubbed in the house and not being able to go out during the day or visit elderly relatives, was
Go
to
for
talk
Club
about
Bruges, guys. Go for Club Bruges, 5 minutes. 1-0.
That's nice. Well in. Good on. I'm glad to see somebody else who's going to be just as miserable as us. I'll stop my implosion and I'll go and watch the Huns meltdown later on.
Sorry, guys. Just keep an eye on this game.
I've just remembered what I was going to say. Might be a bit controversial, but do you think Brendan is, I'm not saying done it on purpose, but it kind of suits his narrative that we do it because he's been obviously putting wee snippets out that the board aren't getting the players that he wants. Do you think it kind of suits him because it's as if he's cleansing his hands away from the responsibility for us? But if that's what he's thinking, and it's just a wee question I want to put out whether you think the same as me, that it's actually backfired because he's getting fucking heavy pelters now as well. You know, he's getting labelled with it, and quite rightly so, responsibility.
He didn't the same at Leicester, Andy. It was everybody else's fault but his. You know, and you seen him do it in this game as well, at Celtic this time around as well. He's putting the scales out to left back, basically saying, I've not got a left back, when he has got a left back. You know, this is the little games that he plays, the little things that he does in press conferences and all that, and he says, oh, there's no problem with it between him and the board. We can clearly see there is.
Yeah.
We can clearly see it.
If he was looking for investment, right, in players, in quality players, the one way to achieve that was to qualify for the Champions League. Now he's in the Europa League and it's a lesser tournament. I could argue and go, well, maybe Brendan does want to win a European trophy. He knows we're never going to win the Champions League. Maybe it's a wee plan it has to go into Europa League. But he needs to look at how it's affecting fans like Paddy and that who travel over for Ireland, and then we've got to be travelling on Sundays and trying to go back home and stuff. Just no consideration shown for us whatsoever, any of the fans. I don't think Brendan's a good enough manager to tactically plan like that. I think he thought he'd give it his all, and he's just completely inflexible. He doesn't alter the team. He doesn't alter absolutely anything. At the end of the day, I certainly hope the rotten mob for this side of the city get put out of the Champions League tonight as well. Because one thing's for sure, if they manage to fight back and qualify and we haven't, that would fucking burst my stones. That would absolutely burst my stones. Them having access to funds and stuff like that would be horrendous. At the end of the day, right, look, I can have dreams and ambitions and visions. I can want to go and compete in the Champions League. I can always dream that Celtic would win it again. Nobody can take that away from me. You can point and laugh at me. That's up to you. Some people, the glass is half full. For some people, the
red card for Rangers, boy. Red card for Rangers.
Beautiful.
The glass is always half full, legends.
I think it's Max Orange, professional foul, last man tackle.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Andy, just want to come to you quickly, mate.
Yep.
We'll give you time to calm down now, mate. You've been away meditating as well. You're back to normal now. The silence is absolutely deafening from Celtic today. You know, they should be putting out the mission statement now that we're going to go and win this Europa League. We're going to invest in the team. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. But yet again, absolutely nothing, mate.
Listen, we've spoke about the lack of communication with us both, and in particular Nicholson. I said last week, I don't know what the guy's voice sounds like. I'm not saying they are what they do with the referees every month, come out and discuss everything. I don't mean that, but a wee bit of communication with the fans. You know, let us know what's your plans, what's your direction for the club. You get absolutely nothing. Everything's put onto Brendan to put it, and he said it himself. There's only so many ways I can dress this up when he's talking about the lack of signings. So he's obviously frustrated. I still don't think he's. I want to see him gone. I definitely want to see him gone because his football is absolutely turgid and it's a nightmare. It's frustrating to watch. I've never been so frustrated watching a Celtic team. You've got to get way back to see some of the pish we seen in the early 90s. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, Celtic dad talking about the early 90s when it was pish. We're successful. We're winning trophies. but a lot of that's down to the shite round about us because we haven't got a real challenge. Let's be honest. You're getting into Champions League games against fucking cannon fodder, and you can't score one goal or 2 games, extra time and penalties. You're fucking missing the penalties as well. It's just I want to see him going. Something's going to happen at board level, but then who's going to sack them? They're going to sack themselves. Of course, no, it's not going to happen. They need to bring in help. With Don Mackay, who had a progressive attitude to things, how long did he last? He was only here a matter of couple of months, was it, or something like that, and he was out the door. No even spoken about. Just thanks very much and see you later. It's just absolute piss. They're asking fans to invest in the club, which they will do no matter what. Blindly invest because we love the club. So guys that have got season tickets are paying what, 600-700 quid a season, something like that. And then on top of that, all your kits and all your obviously travel to games and stuff like that. Like say talking about Paddy and Jerry coming up for Ayrshire and people for down south. They're investing their time and their money in the club. What are they getting back? Because the Celtic board seem quite content on domestic dominance, the way they see it. And I've said it in the past, Scotty, I've said it in other podcasts we were on, the CSP. They were happy. Celtic are happy at keeping them at arm's length. You know, we could quite, and you've said it yourself, this is put your foot in their neck time. You could finish them, but they're businessmen, and you know that it makes bad business if they know about. We could finish them anytime we want, we could. Anytime we want. And the thing is, you don't need to worry about domestic football because if you plan for the Champions League, you're wiping the flare with every single team in our domestic league. Every single team, including them, no matter who or who's backing them or who they're bringing in. If we do it right to do something in Europe, domestic football takes care of itself, but they seem so domesticated, they're just looking at European football as a bonus because they're no serious about investment. So I think, now I'm not a season ticket holder, right? And I understand people have already paid up front for Europa League kind of tickets and stuff like that. Don't go. You're not. If that's the case, you're not going to hurt the club financially. But if you want to make a show of how you feel, let them walk out at a Europa League game when the world is watching and looking for that atmosphere at Celtic Park, and it's fucking dead. And they'll say, "Why is this? What's happening here?" That's the only thing you can go down. They're not going to suffer financially for it, but something's got to be done.
Aye. Absolutely bang on, lads. Fantastic comments here. I just want to move on quickly to the Europa League because obviously that's what we're in. It looks like we're in pot 2 for what I can make out. The Rangers will be in pot 1 by the looks of things as well because of their previous coefficiency stuff. I've got a couple of wee slides here. So Celtic's Europa League involvement has once again thrown the domestic fixture schedule into flux, with 4 home Premiership games now looking likely to be rescheduled to the Thursday-Sunday turnaround the competition demands. The first fixture under threat is a visit of Hibernian, currently set for Saturday the 27th of September. That game could yet remain on the Saturday, but only if UEFA allocate Celtic's European clash for the Wednesday night slot during match day 1 of the group stage. Otherwise, it will be bumped to the Sunday. Match day 1 is spread across the Wednesday and the Thursday. So that's maybe one for you, Patrick. Let's hope that's on the Wednesday night, sir. A week later, Celtic are due to host Motherwell at Parkhead on Saturday, the 4th of October. That comes just 2 days after match day 2 in the Europa League, making a Sunday switch almost inevitable. Kilmarnock's visit on Saturday, the 8th of November, also looks set to move. The Hoops will be in action on match day 4, just 48 hours earlier, meaning the league fixture will require adjustment to comply with recovery times. And finally, can't see the top of that just now because I'm bloody blind. So the home match against Falkirk at the end of January, set for Saturday the 31st of January. It falls just 2 days after match day and could also be postponed entirely if Celtic reach the final of the Premier Sports Cup. Celtic will also see Hearts away on October the 25th, Hibs away on October the 29th, Falkirk away on December the 13th, and Hearts away on January 24th all moved to Sundays. This disruption comes at a time when Celtic fans are already enduring a lengthy spell without a home game. With a run of away fixtures and the international break, supporters won't return to Celtic Park until that scheduled Hibs match on the 27th of September, more than a month since the last home outing. So, Jerry, massive disruption, this Europa League, as Paddy touched on as well. It does, it pisses so many fans off. What are you making it, mate? It's just never ending, is it?
Aye, but as I was angry last night, I'm angry tonight. Scott, I'll probably buy the tickets soon. I don't know. I can't say I'll know. Paddy's right, it's upset. I mean, it's another eight Sundays. Listen, it's bad enough as it is in Ufat, but I've paid my season books and I hardly get a Saturday to meet my pals and my family up in Glasgow, my cousins and stuff. I hardly get a Saturday to meet them. And now that's gone and no going another 8 Sundays. It's just, I know, and Paddy's got to travel and other boys travel on Sundays. Listen, the Sunday, you go to your work on a Monday. You can't go to your work on a Monday drunk. It's simple now. You can't drive on a Monday morning. It's simple. Down here, the post, pull you in with my pickups every second week. So I've got to watch what I'm doing. So that's Sundays now, that's Saturdays, not need. I know that's about football, but in general, there's guys here to meet certain guys every Saturday for the home games and everything. And it's just a snowball effect for everybody. And that, to me, is just... But I'm feeling angry now about it, but as I say, as the week's going, I'll probably end up going, But I'll even buy the tickets and give them to somebody to go to the game at least anyway. But I'm not really happy. I could try and organise my work on a Sunday, Scott, as well. No, I try and organise my week's work on a Sunday, so you try to do that and go to the football as well and try and just get a couple of pints, you get a wee taste for it, so you can, a couple of pints, mate. So it's all that and happy. You miss the Wednesday night Champions League football, mate. There's nothing beats it and going to Celtic Park and that dark nights with the floodlights, and it's been against the top level teams, it's been took away phase, mate. So they know I'm still a wee bit pissed off, to be fair, mate. Still a bit pissed off.
And Paddy, it's one of you guys from the Emerald Isle, yous plan ahead, for your travel and all these things. Folk will have booked, boats and booked hotels and all these things already, because you need to plan ahead to try and save money. You guys spend a fortune coming across. We're hoping to get a vlog out of you this season, mate, about how bad it is for you guys sometimes. If it's an early kick-off on a Sunday, for example, you're on a 4 o'clock boat in the morning. Yep. It's a whole thing that it does. The Sunday, like Jerry said, you guys can't have a beer now, because you've got to try and make your work in the Sunday. And if it's a later kick-off on the Sunday, you're not getting back to you on time and then having to get up for your work as well. So it's a whole massive effect for you guys, isn't it?
It is, Scott. As I said earlier, and when you see those fixtures there, you're right into you're almost at the end of January. So this is gonna impact the entire first half of the season for us. As Jerry says, we're not gonna see a game on a Saturday for quite some time. You're just not going to have, because that's only the games that are affected by the Europa League dates. You've also got the other games that will be moved. We've already had one today. This Kilmarnock that's due on the 13th or 14th of September. That's been moved to the Sunday already, just for the TV coverage. So there will be more games like that as well. So Sky will pick a few games that at the minute will be scheduled for Saturday, but they'll be played on the Sunday to accommodate TV. So, it's just going to ruin the entire first half of the season. But, for me, I'm just more disappointed for the likes of the wee grandson and stuff like that. He had such a ball in the Champions League last year, and just magic for him, seeing those big teams, those big players, and being out on the pitch as a mascot against Slovan Bratislava and hearing the music. And, that's the stuff that dreams are made of, and I'm sorry, guys, but, I just can't get that. I can't get the buzz about the Europa League whatsoever. Obviously, when it comes around the time, we'll probably end up going to the game or whatever, and you will still get there. But it's just my opinion is, if you're not in the Champions League, you're as well without it, because it just gives you more hassle, and what do you make from it? You'd be lucky to probably pull in 20 million, so another 20 million for the board not to spend, and it mucks up the entire first half of the season, so it's just very, very disappointing and very deflating for us, Scott, and as I say, we don't look like we're not trying to get medals for being super travelers or one thing or another, but it just gives you an idea of the way, that it does muck up your travel. Everybody likes getting away on a Saturday, and then you have a wee lie up on a Sunday you can watch Rangers playing on the Sunday after we've won on the Saturday, and then you get to your work on Monday morning. As Jerry said, that just scuppers that for so many people. Guys that want to meet up with their mates and go for a beer and stuff like that. The game being on a Sunday just completely changes all that. So it is what it is, guys. But to get away from the, I don't want the knee-jerk reaction, because it is what it is. It's happened. We just have to deal with it. It's as simple as that. There's no point in allowing it to detract from what we still will hopefully be a good season. Both Brendan and Callum both said last night there's no reason why we still can't go on ahead and have a good season. And I think it was Stilly and Petrov made the point, which was very valid. If you all remember the year we lost to Basel, and we thought that was a disaster. We beat Basel 3-1 in Glasgow, and we thought we were in the pig's back, but that was in the days of the old away goals, and we were out there and lost 2-0, and we got knocked out of the Champions League, and we thought that was the end of the world. But that was a precursor to a UEFA Cup run that took us all the way to Seville. So maybe something like that. But without a bit more investment and a few players coming in, we're a million miles away from being on a Europa League run or anything else. So, but we'll see what the draw brings on Friday. The UEFA Europa League draw will be at lunchtime, 12 o'clock on Friday. So by Friday tea time, we should have a pretty good idea of what the fixtures are going to look like for the rest of the season. But it's just very, very disappointing, Scott, for us, just really. But and yes, you're right, 100%. I will get that sorted. I'm going to do a video log to show you, just exactly what a day, just a day out to Celtic Park is like for me and for the wee man and for all our thousands of Irish fans that travel over, just so that you can see exactly what it is that we go through, and how that if somebody throws a spanner in the works along the way, how it can absolutely change it and make it twice the journey or make it twice as bad. You know what I mean? So I promise I will get that sorted, because that will be a good one for everybody to have a wee look at. So I will get to that.
Good man.
Scotty, somebody was asking in the comments how to get on live, so I posted the link again. So I don't know if I can't mind who it was.
I seen it, mate.
That's young Jay, Scott. I was speaking to Jay on the boat last Saturday evening. That was him there. Spoke to Jay and another lad as well. They were very, very complimentary about the pod and about the guys on the pod. Everybody thought it was the best pod online. So, good man, Jay. It was nice to meet you, lad. Yeah, and anybody else on the boat or anywhere else, if you see us along the way, don't hesitate to come over and have a chat. Make yourself known and get a yarn with us.
Yeah, bang on, man. Bang on. We've had over 350 watching us tonight, which is incredible numbers, really. So if this is your first time watching us, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I think we're only about 40 away from 2,000 or something. Andy, is that right?
Aye, I'm just having a look now. Aye, we're at 1,972, so we're getting there. If you have to press subscribe, we're trying to get to 2,000. We'll try to hit a wee mark here. So, if you have to 73, we're
2,000 paddies buying the full boat of drink. Can you, Paddy?
Hey, what you said, Jerry?
You had 2,000 paddies. You had 2,000 paddies buying the full boat of drink. So yes.
Aye, bang on, Kaiser. Andy's saying hit the club in the pocket. For this Europa League. Is Andy just a wee bit knee-jerk because we're all pissed off, or is he bang on? This is the way to do it. Do we hit them with in their pocket, or do we, do what we always do? And as Paddy said, give them their money, and we don't see anything back.
It's for me, right? I always love going to Paradise. I love going to watch the football. I would still like to go, like Jerry says, and watch Europa League games. I understand how it affects people and stuff like that. And I think that's where the biggest problem comes, is fans will buy tickets, fans will go, they will turn up, they won't unite and all just walk away. It's a great point to make, Andy, mate. If we could do that, just get those cardboard dummies that we had there during the COVID season and put them where your season book seat is, everybody.
Yeah, and you need to get them off the park first, mate.
you know what I mean? For me, I'll not be buying any merchandise. I'll not buy their first strip, their second strip, their third strip, their fourth strip. I'm not buying any of that. Until I see improvement in Celtic and in the squad and see cash getting invested, going on the pitch where we actually get to consume it via our eyes, I will be buying any of their merchandise. That's the way I'm going to demonstrate towards the board. Not buy a single bit of merch. And I'm going to go out to Ibrox and find myself one of these sharks and bring it out of back garden and start training with it so I can spin it round like an Olympic gymnast, you know. I'm going to be a black belt in shark spinning by the end of this month. For me, boycotts and stuff like that, we all love Celtic. We all love the club. Nobody wants to damage the club, but we do want change, and we do want something to happen. If boycotts were the only way to do it, then I would definitely do it, mate. I would take part in it. But right here, right now, I'm kind of the same opinion as Jerry. If I get the opportunity of tickets, I would take them. So much to my shame, much to my anger and stuff, if I still have memories of Seville and stuff, and if we can relive that sort of experience, then I would love to be there. I'm sure all our opinions, as it settles down, the dust settles down over the next couple of weeks, our opinions will change. Seen people in the chat saying that I had called Brendan an elite manager and stuff. I actually called him an elite level manager at player development. So I coined that a bit, mate. I reined myself in with that one because I know there's people out there just writing notes down, waiting to come back in and hold your feet to the fire. You know what I mean?
Guys, I just want to touch on that because it's something I actually forgot about. I was going to bring up when we did mention it that Brendan brings on players. You're talking about Engels, who we haven't seen the best of our season. All right, it's early. We were hopeful that we were going to see the best of him. We've got Trusty, we've got Ida. Brendan hasn't done anything with any players. Has he improved the players in the time that he's had them?
No, he has not, my man. Even Yang, right? Look. Last season, Brendan looked like he was putting time into Yang putting in the work and turning up in training and whatnot. He's certainly getting game time for Brendan. I think it's indicative of Brendan likes you. He will develop. I think most of the players that Brendan gets credited with developing actually had that in their locker to begin with, but they needed a certain kind of manager, a wee 5-foot egomaniac to put a wee arm on their shoulder and tell them, it's all right, son. You play for my team. I'll have faith and stick by you no matter what.
He's putting his arm on their shoulder. He's got to stand on something.
You never really realise how small Brendan Rodgers is until he's getting the platform Tom Ford's off. They're like as fit, aren't they? You know what I mean? They put a bit of height on him.
Jerry, were you got to say something there, mate?
Me?
Aye, I thought you put your hand up there, mate. No,
it's a new moving, Jerry.
Man, me mad fruit flies. There's no fruit. I'm not getting any fruit. I don't know what.
Sean, a quick one I wanted to touch on with you, mate. I seen a couple of people mention it in the comments here. It's something that I think we should have a quick chat about. You are a season ticket holder. Do you think this is the board are going to, as a bit of a smokescreen, now are going to go after the Green Brigade? You know, there's a couple of things. You know, I think the tifo at the weekend will be a bit telling. The first one back at Celtic Park will certainly be telling. I think they're going to go after the board now, and rightly so. And do you think the board are going to take it out on the Green Brigade, this shambles of their gamble again?
I've got a funny feeling you're right, Scott, because the simple fact is it always seems to be one of the long-standing things that happens. If we don't get, you know, the improvement on the park or the amount of money spent in the squad that fans are anticipating or that should be done at club level, then in the Green Brigade go out and make the tifos and get everything else done, then I've got a funny feeling that they will. The Green Brigade are going to, obviously, rightly so, be angry the same as the rest is, because we're not at the highest levels Europe football. We've not had the level of investment, like I've said before. But I've got a funny feeling that if the Green Brigade do come out with any kind of statement or anything like that, then the board are just going to backtrack and come and say, well, it's kind of tit for tat, to be honest, because if you look at the Green Brigade and the board's track record, right, you come in and say that the board, 100% are only spending the money, only doing this, only doing that. The Green Brigade are costing Celtic, according to the board and newspaper reports, are costing Celtic thousands because of pyrotechnics and all that, right? But at the same time, that's everybody. That's everybody. The whole level of Scottish football, the whole world football is like that. If the simple fact is, the money's there to be spent. The board just don't want to spend it. That's the simple fact is. The board just don't want to spend it. They and like everybody said in this chat and in the comments, they're businessmen. It's like you said, Scott, the dinosaurs. They're done. They've been there. They've done their time. They see a clean balance sheet. They see a profit or a sub, whatever you call it. I'm not a business guy, so I don't really know, right? But the difference is they see this kind of big, massive number in their bank. They're like, yes, we've done great business. You might have done great business and you might have a clean balance sheet. But the difference is, look at where you are. Look at where your team is. Look at where your squad is. Look at what your fans are telling you. And like you said, like everybody said earlier on, the amount of silence that you're getting for this board is worrying. It's clearly worrying. Because who do they get to then come out and say, guys, do you know what? We'll hold the horns up. We never backed the manager. We never done this. We never done that. But we're going to be doing this going forward. This is an action plan. This is what Yusuf says. This is what we're going to do. That's something that I feel is desperately needed, because the simple fact is, I'm 35 and I can't remember any last time that the board ever done anything like that to come and say we're backing this person, we're doing this, that, and the next thing, and actually at the end of the season prove it.
What have we got Celtic TV for? This is my point.
Aye, exactly. Exactly, Scott. Exactly.
We could use that. Andy, before I come to Paddy, in fact, Paddy, go for it. What have you got to say, sir? I think you're muted, mate. You're muted. You're muted.
I think Sean makes.
I do that all the time, Paddy.
No, you made a fantastic point, Scott, and that's what I would urge people to do. Like, when you think of the money, that we all invest in season tickets and merchandising and food and stuff and buying the programs and when we're at the games and all the rest of it, when you think of the money that we put in, just have a wee think about some of the other organisations that you put money into. So the likes of Tesco, the likes of Sainsbury's, Apple, EE, whatever it may be, just have a wee look at their websites to see if you want to make a complaint. They all have complaints procedures. That there's somewhere you can go. Where do we go? Where do we go when we want to make a complaint to Celtic? And we're putting millions and millions into this club every single year. And we have nobody. We have absolutely nobody to speak to. You have nobody to go to say, right, I would like an opinion on that. I want to ask as a shareholder, as a season ticket holder, as a financial backer of this club, I would like to ask the question: why wasn't Brendan back before the deadline for this qualifying tie? So that's a fantastic point that Scott makes, or sorry, that Sean makes there. That we are, you wouldn't put up with that from Tesco. If you had to make a complaint about customer service or lack of customer service at Tesco, you'd make your complaint and you'd see it through to the end. But we seem to just invest millions in this club, and we just seem to allow the board to just, as I said, they treat us with contempt, absolute contempt. So something has to give, guys. Something has to be done.
It certainly does. And Andy, I just want to give the final word to you, mate. Europa League, Green Brigade, there's more fan discontent going to be coming over the next few weeks for sure. What are you making it all, mate? I'm giving the final word to you, my man. Go for it.
Quite rightly so. They deserve everything that's coming their way, and I don't expect anything less for the GB if they are. Is that the Bruges scored again?
2-0 Club Bruges, yeah. 2-0.
2-0.
Aye, absolutely. I don't expect anything less for the GB. I'm now looking at the Europa League and thinking, are we even a Europa League side? So I suppose we'll find out just how bad we are, because we're now into the second tier of European competition, and you're looking at that saying, how, by the way, there's good teams in that as well. So they're still going to have to invest. They can't even now look at that saying, well, we're out of the Champions League. What's the point? We need major investment. They better get their finger out. They've slipped up once. We get into us, we've got a second chance at European competition. It might not be the top tier of European competition, but it's still a good competition to be in. No one we want to be in, but we're in it. So let's go on with it. Make the best of it. Try and get a run in this competition. And see how we go next year. That's the only thing they can do. But when it comes to the board, we're going to end up getting absolutely pig sick of talking about this, because as I said, they're not going to sack their salary, but they're going to have to make some changes in some way, because they've got a big fan revolt on their hands, and it's going to be interesting, the reaction to what has happened with no making the Champions League proper. I think it's shocking, but it's very embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing that a club like Celtic are going out to a team like that, and with a whimper, by the way, not even a fight, not even you can't say what went against us. We didn't even deserve to get through early two ties. Just absolutely embarrassing. So I think when it comes to Europe now, we look at the Europa League and just see what happens there, and hopefully we get our finger out and start putting it together, because end of the day, Rodgers is going to be here at the end of the season. We know that. I don't think he's going to walk, and I don't think he's going to get sacked. But I look forward to the day that he isn't here anymore, because we need something. We need an injection of new ideas, new formations. The players just look lost. I totally get playing systems and that to suit the way you want your football philosophy, but if you're stifling players' ability and talent, then that's wrong. I totally understand that you want to stick to a system. You need to let players, you need to let them off the leash a wee bit and let them flourish, especially players like Arne Engels and all that, You need to let that natural ability come out. And I think a lot of Brendan's tactics is suffocating their talent showing through. So I want to see a change here. Whether he's going to change his tactics or the way he looks upon the game is another question.
Yeah, bang on, mate. I just want to read this comment out for Jim here. Boys, I've followed our club for 70 years. The last 20 years we've been winning, but we're still just papered over the cracks. The board have got away with it for years. I said that, Jim, at the start in my little rant at the beginning. We screamed out for them to, go for it after Seville. We had a brilliant team then. And if we just improved on that team, God knows where we would have ended up. That team was good enough. We seen with Porto winning that, UEFA Cup that year. They went on to win the Champions League the year after. So that was the level that we were at. And for 20 years, mate, we have papered all the cracks. We haven't been at the races. We haven't moved forward when it's came to these games. And again, we were showing up for what we were again last night. But as Patrick said, on Friday, we have the Europa League draw at 12 o'clock. What's that, Andy? Is that 3? Have we hit the 2000s?
1981.
1981.
We're getting there, folks. If this is your first time watching,
thanks very much.
subscribe.
It's a year I was born on.
We'll see you on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. We've had great numbers tonight. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Kaiser. Thank you, Andy. And thank you to Sean, who is
Guys, thank you very much.
Just 2 seconds before we go, legends.
Yeah.
2 seconds. I just want to mention the fact that I'm up taking part in the Sleep Out at Paradise, right, ladies and gentlemen? If there's a lot of people in watching, I did share a wee link in the chat there. I'll share it again at the end, and I'll leave a link in the comments after this pod is finished. Should anybody feel the desire to donate to the Sleep Out, 15th of November, I'll be sleeping out in Paradise. So there's plenty of time. Well, plenty of time to donate and plenty of time to bring it up and talk about it on the show. I didn't want to delay everybody for too long, so stay blessed, legends, right? Hail, hail.
Right, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much in the comments as well, ladies and gentlemen. That was a
Thank
great
you, guys.
podcast. The guys managed to get all their rants out as well, and we'll see you on Friday night. All the best. Hail, hail.
Hail, guys.
Hail, hail.
Sack your board.
With a 4-leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, 'cause they play football the Celtic way.